Good morning. Thanks for joining us. Hey, I want to share some stuff I picked up from Bob Goff and some stuff I picked up from the Bible, from Jesus. Bob Goff's book is Catching Whimsy, and he says that God is offering you an adventure. You should take him up on it. When I came to Christ back late 1976, I always like to say, if someone told me just sit here in this pew and just be good, yeah, I would have dropped out a long time ago. But I do believe it's an adventure. And I think sometimes people are kind of like, well, can I kind of get out of certain things or whatever? And it's like, following Jesus, it's unknown, it's an adventure. And I think of the rich young ruler. And a lot of you know that I have my thesis on that it was John Mark who became Mark. And they're in a lot of ways different people. But a lot of times we focus on the part of the story where it's like he had all these riches and he didn't want to give them up, and because he would have had to give them up to follow Jesus. What are we talking about here? We're talking about stuff. He didn't want to give up stuff to go on the greatest adventure of his life. Now, if I'm correct, he eventually got there, but I think he certainly would have had regret about it. Well, what Bob Goff talks about is this young boy, Charlie. And he's a young man that was just badly injured by an attack from a witch doctor in Uganda. So we brought him to the United States for medical care. And one day he's just talking to him and he says, "What's the biggest fish you've ever seen?" And Charlie said it was a Nile perch. And he said it was about this big, about 10 inches. Well, Bob Goff is very, how to say it? I mean, he's just a very creative character, very energetic, very spontaneous. He has meetings with people. He's a lawyer at Disneyland. I guess it's Bob Goff. But he said there's an amusement park not far from his house. He lives in the San Diego area. SeaWorld. I was there in 1977. I love SeaWorld. And he said, I haven't gone there that often because it costs $85. And it was late in the day, but they've got some pretty big fish there. I didn't want to tell Bob that actually the big fish he's talking about aren't fish, but that's okay. You know, they're sea creatures. But Bob gives his phone number in the back of the book, so maybe I'll text him and just say, no, I won't do that. So he gets there, and it was late in the afternoon, and he said, I asked the girl at the ticket counter if there was a half-day rate. She said, yeah, it's still $85. And he wondered out loud if there's another way to get in. And the young lady kind of leaned forward and she said in a hushed voice, well, ask for a shopper's pass. And so Bob said, I leaned forward and said, hey, I'd like a shopper's pass. And here's how it works. She ran the credit card and wrote down the time at the top of the receipt. And she says, you get 1 hour to go shopping. You can buy a rubber tuna. I suppose, and then you have to leave. If you're not out within the hour, you have to pay the $85. So he grabs Charlie and they just go running through the park. And he takes him by the hand. His feet barely touch the ground. Just 10 yards, at a time. He's just pulling them from place to place. They got to the penguin exhibit. They got to see Shamu. He did some tricks. He got them wet. That's the big whale that comes down and splashes killer whale. And all these different things that they got to see. His point with all of this, and they got out in time and they didn't have to pay the $170. Jesus has invited us to an adventure. He didn't say what would happen. He just said, come and see. And I love this verse in John chapter 1, verse 39. And it's to Andrew and somebody else. Because they said, hey, like, where are you staying? This is very early on. This is like at the baptism of Jesus. And with John the Baptist still on the scene. And Jesus said, come and you will see. And they spent the whole day with them. And Andrew was convinced that day that this was the guy. But they just spent time with him. Come and see. It's a costly adventure because you don't know what it's going to entail. In the end, Andrew was martyred for his faith. Think about that for a moment. But would he have traded it for anything? I don't think so. Here's the deal. There's no shopper's passes. Or shortcuts. And Jesus doesn't want you to just sit on the pew. He's got exciting stuff for you to do. It won't be a stroll in the park. You might get wet. You might get soaked by Shamu, so to speak, and you'll probably be running some of the time, but he promises to be with you every step of the way. Take Jesus up on the adventure of following him. God bless you. Have a great week.